محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Some of the fada'il that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned about his grandson Hassan ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhuma. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu says that the Prophet ﷺ said to Hassan, Allahumma inni uhibbuhu fa-ahibba wa ahibba man yuhibbu. That, oh Allah, I love him, I love Hassan, so oh Allah, you love him, and also love the one that will love him. Abu al-Bara ibn Azib radiallahu anhu says, رأيت الحسن بن علي على عاتق النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ويقول اللهم إني أحبه فأحبه. The Hassan ibn Ali was riding the Prophet ﷺ's shoulders. It means the sunnah also to have your kids riding on your shoulders. Even during salah, sometimes they will come on your back. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ said that, oh Allah, I love him, so oh Allah, you love him. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu says, دخل الأقرع بن حابس على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. That once the Sahabi by the name of Aqra' bin Habis, hadith is very famous, and then he saw فرآه صلى الله عليه وسلم يقبل حسنا أو قال حسينا. He saw that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم is kissing his grandson Hassan. The Rawi says that perhaps it was Hussein. فقال تقبله, you kissing your kids? ولي 10 من الولد ما قبلت واحدا منهم. I have 10 sons, I've never kissed any one of them. The Prophet ﷺ said, إنه من لا يرحم لا يرحم. The one who doesn't show mercy is not eligible to be shown mercy. So the person who doesn't show mercy to others, he doesn't deserve mercy. Meaning that to love your kids and also to play with them, to put them on your shoulder, and to kiss them, and to put your hands over their head as well, they're a sign of mercy. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu used to love Hassan ibn Ali radiallahu anhu in particular. And the Prophet ﷺ at one time he said, this is my son coming. He used to call them my son. Because none of his sons lived. We'll talk about that inshallah later on. He saw Hassan, he said, he is Sayyid, he is a leader. And he has given from my hilm, from my forbearance. And then he gave a prophecy that there will be a fight, a dispute between two great nations, and he will be the cause to bring those two groups together. And that prophecy happened when, after his father, the fourth Khalifa, when he passed away, it was the 41st of the Hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ, meaning it was 31 years after the Prophet ﷺ, 30 years after the Prophet ﷺ passed away. He ﷺ passed away in Rabiul Awwal, the month of Rabiul Awwal, the year of the 11th of Hijrah. So it was 30 years after. And the Prophet ﷺ said that al-khilafatu ila 30 sana, thumma ba'da dhalika muluk. That the khilafah, it will be for 30 years, and after that, it will be kings. The scholars say that it doesn't indicate that there's something wrong about that, but they will be called kings instead of Khalifa, the caliphate. So he was, after his father passed away, he died as a shaheed in Kufa, and then the people said, Hassan ibn Ali, the son of Ali radiallahu anhu, the grandson of the Prophet ﷺ, he is the Khalifa. And people rushed to do bay'ah in his hand, and they did bay'ah. And then he continued to be the Khalifa for, some scholars say 6 months, and some say 8 months. So whatever, 6 or 8 months. So he left the Khilafah and handed over to Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan radiallahu anhu, and he stepped down from the Khilafah. And that was exactly, the scholars say, they calculated the years, and it became exactly 30 years after the Prophet ﷺ's passing. That 6 months was the completion. And therefore, normally we hear the 4 Khulafa. He is the 3rd Khalifa, but he did not complete. He was a Khalifa only for a few months. And therefore, they consider 4 Khulafa, rightly guided Khulafa. But the Jumhur of the ulama say that there were 5 Khulafa. Allah Khulafa al-Khamsa. Right? May Allah be pleased with them. So, giving up the Khilafah, it brought the Muslims together, and everyone did bay'ah on the hands of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. So, the whole fight that was going to happen, he left everything, and it's mentioned that he put his sword away and he left from Kufa and he went to Medina. And he lived there for a few years, and he died according to the 50th of Hijrah. And he was under 50 when he died. Radiallahu anhu. Yeah. So, yeah. When the Prophet ﷺ, when he, I got sidetracked. When the Prophet ﷺ said this about Hassan radiallahu anhu, that he's his leader and so on and so forth, Abu Hurairah was there and he said, wow, such a great person. He just fell in love with him. And whenever he used to see him after the Prophet ﷺ's passing, he will always look at him and he would cry. Kana shadid al-buka. Abu Hurairah was a person that used to cry a lot. He was a very soft-hearted person. So this hadith is very interesting. He said, once Abu Hurairah met Hassan when he was walking in one of the streets of Medina, and he said, can you open up your chest and your belly? Interesting request, right? Fidaka abi, that may my parents be fida for you. Hatta uqabbilu haythu Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam yuqabbilu. That the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kissed Hassan's belly. Right? I want to kiss the same place where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kissed him. So Hassan radiallahu anhu opened his chest and Abu Hurairah kissed him. Once the Prophet ﷺ was holding Hassan radiallahu anhu on his shoulder, and a person came and he said, wow, نعم المركب ركبت يا غلام فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعم الراكب هو. So the person said, wow, you have a great something to ride on, a good ride. What a great ride. The Prophet ﷺ was his ride. And the Prophet ﷺ looked at him and he said, and the rider as well. He's also a great one. So the Prophet ﷺ loved him a lot. His other third brother, Muhassan, as the Prophet ﷺ named him Muhassan, Hussein Muhassan, he said, I named my grandchildren after the names of the sons of Harun alayhi salam. Their other sibling was Kulthum bint Ali ibn Abi Talib. Their sister, Kulthum, the daughter of Ali and the son of Abu Talib radiallahu anhum. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu married the Kulthum to Umar, Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. So he was related to the Prophet ﷺ in many ways. He was the father-in-law and also the great son-in-law, the grandson-in-law. And he had a son from Umar radiallahu anhu. She had a son from Umar radiallahu anhu named Zayd. And Umar radiallahu anhu had a brother as well, Zayd ibn al-Khattab. I guess he named him after his brother. But Zayd didn't live for a long time and he passed away. And the mother, Kulthum, Hassan Hussein's sister, she also could not take that grief and she also passed away after a few months. Zainab bint Ali ibn Abi Talib, the second sister Zainab bint Ali. She was born in the Prophet ﷺ's life, during the Prophet ﷺ's life, and she was married to Abdullah ibn Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, to her cousin, and they had many children. And they also died in the battle of Karbala. They had other siblings because Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiallahu anhu, as we will talk about, the other children of the Prophet ﷺ, which includes Fatima radiallahu anha, she was the last one to die from the Prophet ﷺ's children. They all died in the Prophet ﷺ's life. She was the only one who survived, and she lived only 6 months after the Prophet ﷺ passed away. And after her passing, then Ali ibn Abi Talib married many times, and he had many other children. One of the famous one that is mentioned in the books of Tariq is Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya. His mother was Khawla bint Ja'far, and she was from the tribe of Banu Hanafiya. And he was also a great scholar, and he lived for many years, and he died way in the end of the century, in the 90s of the Hijrah. So this was a little bit about the siblings of Hussein radiallahu anhu. Inshallah, we will continue then with the children of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the rest of his children, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Baraka ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi.
Hassan was also the son of Fatima